what's up guys? Welcome back to Eisen Tools. So today I want to test Rocket 1.0 from Rocket.new and see what happens when research, competitive intelligence, building, and collaboration all happen inside one connected workflow instead of 5 disconnected apps. Make sure to like the video, subscribe, and share in the comments which AI you want me to review after this one. Rocket.new launched in June 2025 and already reached 1.5 million users across 180 countries. Now with Rocket 1.0, the pitch is much bigger. It is not just about building faster, it is about what they call vibe solutioning, which means the thinking happens before the build, not after. So instead of opening with a template or jumping straight into a UI, I start by creating a project inside Rocket.new 1.0. That is important because everything I do next is supposed to live inside this same project. The research, the competitive signals, the product direction, the build, and the collaboration all stay connected. That means I should not have to keep re-explaining the same idea over and over again every time I move to the next step. For the first step, I use Solve. My prompt is simple but specific. I want to build a SaaS product that helps creators and small teams monitor AI tool launches, pricing changes, product updates, and turn that into content or business opportunities. Is this market too crowded? Who are the main players? What gaps are they missing? And what should the MVP look like if I want something focused and actually useful instead of another bloated all-in-one platform? That is the kind of question I would normally break across Google, Perplexity, YouTube research, notes, and maybe a spreadsheet. Here it comes back as one structured report with findings, evidence, competitor mapping, risks, and recommendations. And this is where Rocket.new 1.0 starts feeling different. The output is not just information, it is a direction. Instead of giving me a vague summary and leaving me to figure out the strategy myself, it helps narrow the opportunity into something more focused. In this case, the smarter angle is not building a giant generic AI tools database. It is building a creator-focused intelligence dashboard that helps users spot launches early, track changes over time, and turn those signals into real content ideas or market opportunities. That is a much better starting point because a successful execution of the wrong idea is still a bad outcome. Another thing I like here is that the research is actually usable. Once the report is ready, I can even convert it into a presentation, which is a nice touch because now it is not trapped inside one screen. It becomes something I could actually present, share, or build from. And more importantly, it stays inside the project, so the next step is not starting from zero. And now comes the build step, which is where most tools usually begin. But here it comes after the thinking. Based on what Solve and Track surfaced, I prompt Rocket.new 1.0 to build a production-grade dashboard for monitoring AI products, launches, pricing shifts, and feature changes, with a clean interface that works for solo creators, researchers, or small teams. What matters here is that I do not need to re-explain the whole strategy. I do not paste the same market summary again. I do not rewrite the audience or positioning. The build task already sits inside the same project, so it already knows what came before. That is the whole value of connected context. The research is not something separate that dies after one session. It becomes the foundation of the product. And honestly, that is the bigger category shift here. Most AI tools help you execute. Rocket.new 1.0 is trying to help you decide and then execute inside the same system. Perplexity can find information. Claude can answer questions. Builder tools can generate interfaces. But Rocket.new is trying to connect the whole workflow from thinking to intelligence to building. So when the result looks more like a real product and less like a random first draft, that is not just because the UI generator is good, it is because the system had a better starting point. Then I open a second task inside the same project, and this is probably the most important moment in the whole workflow. I ask it to generate a landing page for the same product. I do not restate the positioning. I do not explain the competitive gap again. I do not repeat the design direction from the product. It already knows. That is the context compounding moment, and it is the part that makes this feel genuinely different from the usual AI workflow, where every new chat starts with memory loss. Here, the second task is smarter because of everything that happened in the first one. So my honest takeaway is this: Rocket.new 1.0 is most interesting when you stop looking at it like just another AI builder. The real idea is that it thinks before it builds, and then it keeps that thinking connected to every step after. That is why this feels less like vibe coding and more like actual product workflow. Research, monitoring, building, context, and collaboration all stay inside one project instead of being scattered across different tools. Then, after the build process, it's time for the final layer, intelligence. This is where Rocket.new really becomes more than just a builder. It can track competitor websites in the background, monitor feature launches, pricing updates, UI changes, and product positioning automatically. I literally just paste the competitor's link and let the system do the rest. A few hours later, it delivers organized tracking reports, highlights what changed, and even surfaces patterns across competitors. Instead of spending hours researching manually, I get a constantly updated overview of the market, almost like having an AI research team running 24/7. If you want to try it yourself, check out Rocket.new. The link is in the description and pinned comment.